Hi, my name is Tulli. I'm from Brazil. And as much as Brazil is perceived as this very liberal and open-minded country, it's very backwards, and especially coming from a very small town. And my mom passed when I was 7, so I was brought up by my dad, and he is very homophobic. And I have all of these childhood memories of sometimes him coming home really pissed off because he bumped into a gay person on the street, and then he would put hand sanitizer on his body to clean because he said that he was dirty. And also TV-wise, Brazil, I don't have any memories of a gay character on TV that wasn't either the villain or the joke. And even though my dad would always change the channel every time that you see, so I couldn't have anything to relate to. And I grew up being very sad and suicidal. I didn't open up to that many people because I always thought that it would end up coming to him at the end, and then he would know. And I have these suspicions that he would have people knowing where I was going, who I was hanging out with. I remember my first kiss, like gay kiss, and I came home, and a week later, he was like, I know that you came down the street with this gay guy, and I don't want you to be related to this kind of person, and that made me just shut down to the whole world. And I used to listen to music a lot, and I remember the first time that I saw a gay person being portrayed on TV or whatever in a positive way was a video clip for the song called Beautiful by Christina Aguilera. And that song literally changed my whole journey because I started to realize that there was nothing wrong with me, and it was more the environment where I grew up. And then I changed cities going to uni, and I started to be more comfortable being myself. But I left the prejudice from my family to go to the gay community because I always wanted to be more queer, and I always wanted to be more feminine. And I feel like for the gay community, the more masculine that you look, the more attractive you are. So every time that I wanted to wear any makeup, and I feel like I'm not going to be attracted, I'm not going to be with anyone. So I also kind of blocked that side of me for a long period of time. And then I just realized that enough was enough. I wasn't happy, and I tried to do everything that I was told to do in order to be someone in society. So I graduated, I had a job, and then I did a post-graduation, and I had a really nice job as well, but I was just not happy, and all of those thoughts about not being enough, and I just didn't see any perspective in my life. I was like, if this is living life, I don't want to live life anymore. So I just decided to go to Canada, and that was the first time that I was able to be myself. Canada is a very forward-thinking country, I think, especially Toronto, where I lived. So I started to play with makeup and wearing heels and wearing more feminine clothes. And I started to realize that people didn't change the way that they think about me or they talk to me because of that, and it made me really happy. And then I came to Australia 3 years ago, and different in Canada that I had to give a lot of explanations because I was changing the way that I look. Here, everyone met me already being that person.
That's so good.
I remember starting working at this resort in far north Queensland. It's called Turtle Cove Beach Resort. It's the only LGBTQIA+ resort in Australia. And I felt so embraced by the whole community there because they just focus a lot on every aspect of the gay community, not just gay men, which usually it's an issue that I found. I hate division, and I hate hanging out with my straight friends and having my gay friends being like, oh no, they're not welcome here. And I hate being with like straight people and hear them talking shit about gay community as well. And I just wanted to like a kind of environment where everyone is welcome, and I found it there. And I remember being the first time that I met a transgender, and made me realize that I didn't have any transgender in my social circle. I never had that before. And that speaks volumes on how not just belittled that community is, but also how excluded they are. And then that makes me very scared, because I started to gravitate towards being transgender. And at first I came out as a non-binary, and then I realized that I was using the non-binary flag as a way to hide the fact that I was transgender, but I didn't want to be that, because it's kind of like coming out of the closet again. And I was like, how many fucking closets I've been put in coming into this world, and I have to be just opening doors and coming out. And it takes a lot of strength, and it gets to a point where you get tired of doing this, and it's just like way deeper being trans. And I talked a lot with that transgender. She's on her 60s, and she's one of the best human beings that I met in my life. And she told me about her journey, and that made me relate a lot and realize a lot of things about myself that I didn't want to give attention at the time, but now I do. And ever since then, I never looked back, but I still feel like I go through things in life that I get denied a job, or I get with a guy and he is too ashamed to show me to his friends, and that kind of exclusions makes me wonder if I'm strong enough to go through this path. And when I was going through this very recently, I heard about the project, and that was kind of massive signs, because I believe in the universe and life giving you little pieces of signs, and then you kind of follow it. If you follow your heart, you get to a nice place. If you kind of ignore it, you kind of go in loops, and the lesson keeps coming back. And then I got chosen to be part of something that's so important for my community, and also for me as a human being, because I feel like I'm doing something that's going to help benefit so many other people, not to have to go through the same path that I have to go right now. And just being here today with everyone else and being able to ask questions without feeling like, oh, am I asking too much? Am I kind of stepping on somebody else's toes? Or talking about myself and knowing that the other person fully understands me. Because when I talk with my friends, they just say what they feel like it's what they can say to make me feel better, but it doesn't actually do anything, because they don't understand what it feels like. The same way that I don't understand what they go through, it's hard for everyone else, but it's just, I'm gonna leave this place here today, feeling like if I have to talk to someone, I have someone to go to, and I'm just very grateful, honestly.
So I suppose for people like you, me, or everyone that was here today, and everyone that's going to follow in the footsteps behind you, because sometimes when you feel so alone, I'm just this fucking weirdo, why do I feel like this? No one else is like this. When you get a little bit older and you're comfortable, you begin to get more confident and comfortable in your own skin. Sometimes you have to adopt the idea that you were the pioneer. Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to adopt the idea that there's always got to be the first leader in a new direction, like there was 40 years ago when gay people just started coming out publicly for the first time. That opened all of the doors for everyone else to follow comfortably afterwards, and it changed society. That is the same with being trans and non-binary, and however you identify, is we exist in the community and it is normal. Mm-hmm. So you may have not been in the best environments, but all that strength has led you to find your people, and your life's going to be so much different from this point on, because you've kept following what was true. So now that you're here, what does it mean for the people that follow after you to have support from an organization like this?
It means to kind of turn the table and being able to be on the other side, because I'm so used to be on the side of feeling lost and in the dark, and I feel like this organization just shine a light through so many other people's path, because not only it gives you a sense of community, but also it gives you directions on, because sometimes you just feel like this, I feel like I'm trans, but you don't actually know until you talk with other people, until you have people that are educated, and then they're going to show you, oh, this is a procedure. If you want to go through surgery, you can do this, this, and that. If you don't want to do this, but you can do that and that. You know, it's so much more powerful, I feel like, to be in the position of helping other people, but also for these people to kind of have people to look up to. I think I said too many people, but that's fine. I feel like for me as an individual, having an organization, not only, I feel like if I struggle, I know that I have where to look to, you know, like reach for a hand and not feeling like I'm just drowning in the ocean. I feel like I always have someone to just swim with me and not just be on the top like, oh, we're here. No, I'm swimming with you and we're going to get through it and go back to the shore and be able to breathe again. And I feel like that's the best analogy that I would find. And I never felt like people would be interested in helping this portion of our community, because when you think about the LGBTQIA+, we think about gay and lesbians, and I feel like there's so much more to that, so many more layers. And people, like, a lot of people come to me and say like, oh, but why do we have to learn about everything else? Everyone is equal everyone. I was like, yeah, but if you don't learn about everyone else, if you have a transgender in your work environment, how would you know how to talk to that person? How they identify as a non-binary, which is so hard for people to use the they and them pronouns. Like, oh, we're changing the English language now just because of gay people. It's like, no, you use they and them on your vocabulary every day. Like, if you find a wallet on the street and you don't know who it belongs to, what are you going to say? Oh, I found a wallet. I'm going to leave it here for someone. Maybe they will come back. You already used it. It's just you have this resistance with the community, and then you start making up these obstacles. But it's already there, you know? And yeah.